In order to understand our complex world, children need to talk with adults about what they watch, see, and read. One important place for this to happen is here, in our schools. Media literacy changes the way teachers and students work together. How? Through active learning, collaborative problem solving, and high levels of motivation and enthusiasm. Media literacy bridges the gap between the classroom and the culture.
And then I'm going to have you really analyze the picture and tell a story about the picture. Using your writing skills and your imagination and creative thinking.
At this elementary school in Billerica, Massachusetts, students are learning the basics of a new literacy.
Let's listen to this group. And you be thinking in your head, as we go around and look at their pictures, did I think that? Was that the image? Was that the message I got? Okay, Greg, I'll hold it and you read what people thought about this picture.
I see like a redemption center or a wasteland that people just throw their trash or something.
Okay.
And this picture makes me feel kind of sad because they just throw away stuff and don't even think about recycling or something.
Each person sees a different message and interprets a picture differently by their experiences and their background and their knowledge.
I see a recycling plant where they're recycling the barrels, and it makes me feel happy because they're recycling.
Pictures can definitely enhance children's interest in writing. It sparks their imagination and gives them great ideas to draw on and to write about, and children love to write.
Well, I like looking at pictures and seeing other people's point of view, because it's weird to see like what other people think about the picture. They might think it's sad, you might think it's happy or something.
I was impressed with the way they attacked the task at hand, and they seemed to be very interested and actively involved, but doing a lot of thinking. And that's what I like to see in my classes, children analyzing, observing, and thinking.
Well, I learned that if I see something, maybe somebody else won't see it, and I just can't always say that somebody else is seeing what I'm seeing.
I think the authentic learning was very evident in the faces of the children. Very genuine excitement on their part, genuine engagement. They were directly involved. You could overhear their conversations and see the genuine enthusiasm that was there. We saw the children involved in writing, expression of ideas, observation, analytical skills, but genuine thinking, thoughtfulness on the part of the students.
Media literacy helps, I think, in the classroom because 50% of children's time or more, leisure time, is spent watching TV. And I think that it's important for them to realize what they are, what they are seeing and analyze what they are seeing so that it just doesn't end in the classroom. It's also a skill that they need for home and for life.
So as you're filling in the various categories as you go along, start with the name of the product.
At the middle school level, media education appears in many forms. Here, students learn to think critically about advertising.
All right, we want you to list factual content, target audience. If you think there's a very specific, identifiable target audience, bait and hook. You can use a variety of things here. Magic words, okay? The words that tell you really nothing, but they sound terrific in an advertisement. And finally, disclaimers. Listen carefully for disclaimers. Ever since we've been a people, we've been telling stories, analyzing stories, looking at literature. So media, advertising, all of the things we're talking about are just another form of storytelling that need to be analyzed. To ignore that would be to, just be sticking your head in a box and pretending that it's not there, and we can't do that. We have to acknowledge that it's there, and we have to teach the kids how to, analyze it and cope with it.
Okay, now so you're doing yours, your angle on this is just strictly on Nancy, balanced news.
By evaluating news, students enhance their understanding of the stories journalists create.
And a lot of children usually don't really like to look through the newspapers, only their parents like to. But now that we're actually dealing with newspapers, it's interesting because you get to really find out the details on the story. Now I understand that not everything that you see in the newspaper is necessarily true.
We have a project where we are putting into effect the definition of media literacy that we use. That is the ability to access, to analyze, to evaluate, and to produce media in all forms. That picture would not back up your point of view on this bulletin board.
Can we give it to the other group?
Okay? Each group has been assigned a point of view to take. Was it hard to get a lot of articles that were in favor of Tanya Harding? Was it hard to locate them from our newspapers? What I want them to appreciate is to realize that different points of view are coming through the media, and for them to be able to distinguish among these different points of view.
The idea was to try and get kids' attention, to distract them away from smoking.
Media literacy doesn't need to be isolated as a separate course. Teachers are integrating these concepts and activities across the curriculum.
So, what is the target group you're aiming for?
The kids, maybe 5 to 10.
5 to 10 years old. All right, now, a kid 5 to 10 years old is going to be attracted by what kind of books? I think media education is definitely an instructive tool. I think you can incorporate it into any class, whether it's language arts, social studies, math class. But don't you think the state of Idaho would like to see a potato someplace?
Well, I hold up.
And I think it needs to be incorporated into everyone's classroom situation because, again, these kids are bombarded with the proliferation of messages which they have to decode.
Well, us two are going to be the only ones in the shot, and then the last shot's just going to be me.
But media literacy is more than learning how to analyze messages, it's learning how to create them as well. At Cambridge Ringe and Latin High School, students are doing just that.
How long is this thing going to be anyway? It's
30 seconds.
I think making a media message is a good way of expressing ideas because you can really put in how you feel about how it should be shown.
Look at my mom run away. Yeah, that's fact.
Times when I feel in history class or something wasn't right, then I get the camera and I have free time to go out and ask the kids around the school what they think about it and get it all on tape. Then come back and view it in class. And that way I get to understand it too. I get to understand how they feel and I know how I feel.
Can you just hold it like over your shoulder?
Because a lot of people are in fantasy land. They don't know what really takes place behind the scenes and what's really going on. So I think if everyone had a chance to critically analyze media and how to break it down and things like that, because that way you're not fooled by television.
Right there. Yeah, because you walk by them and you're looking at them.
For them to be able to not only shape the world through their own lens, a video lens or a camera, that they can shape what they see on TV because they know what goes behind it, they know what goes into it, they know what the agenda is. And that's pretty powerful for them.
Media education gives students the skills they need to fully participate in our culture.
Some people would say media education is radical. It depends, of course, on what you mean by radical. If you believe that education is not only about making a living, but about making a life and making an intelligent life, then media literacy is radical in the best, most constructive sense of the word.
We've seen how important media literacy is for our students in helping them master the skills they need to navigate in a complex, media-saturated environment. But they can't do it alone. The future of this new vision of literacy is in the minds of the teachers who reach our students each day. We articulated a whole bunch of reasons why we thought it was important that this kind of work happen in our classrooms.
It's my belief that media education is necessary because our students, it's what they learn, it's what they see, it's what they know. It is their culture.
Even if a school or a teacher had no technology, if teachers were able to use print materials in innovative ways, then that enriches the discourse.
We have to let the children show us how best they learn. And I think media literacy allows children to do that.
It's doing our job as teachers to help them sort out their own feelings and their own attitudes and what it means to get connected to those media texts.
And so I think that it becomes the school's responsibility to develop critical thinking or problem solving as a part of their overall process. And I don't think it always should be focused totally on television. I think that that process should be focused on many other mediums as well.
This convergence of two important goals.
Media literacy, I think, is really important because it's just an additional tool. When you get into teaching, you use everything you possibly can to pull the kids into a learning mode.
Training our students to be workers and productive citizens.
And they become engaged, and they become proud of their ideas, and they become excited about sharing what's on their mind with others.